Hey Ashley, I saw your three articles of the week and I thought each of them were interesting in their own way. And I thought it was pretty cool how you picked some relative new ones, like the flyover of the balloon, the Chinese spy balloon. And just to like talk about it real quick, I want to specifically talk about how the United States responded to it. I think the United States in general responded to the balloon pretty interestingly and overall a very smart way. We didn't overreact with it. Like we just sent like an F-22, which is just a fighter jet plane. We sent it out there and we just blew it up. So I thought that was a pretty smart decision to do instead of sending a special plane or something that would basically like expose something that we maybe have hidden or anything that is too drastic that we didn't like show off a new air defense system. Like we just did something simple, maybe to catch them off guard. Saying like, hey, like not too big of an overreaction, although we did blow it up. But I think it was smart on our part to react like that than to overreact. So good. On your next article, you talked about 1,000 migrant families that were separated in the Trump era, which I think is important to bring up. On how devastating some presidencies can leave behind some devastating legacies, specifically with the Trump era and how he was very hard on the southern border and about separating parents and children, and that now officially Biden made this task force to reunite these children with their families, which I think is equally as important to remember that in this country isn't just like linear, it's pretty much seesaw based, one way pushes, the other way pushes back. And I think it's important to bring up these important issues. And lastly, you brought up the new weapon that Ukraine, specifically Zelensky, was asking for to combat the Russians. And I think that it's interesting how warfare is shaping up and showing, we're seeing how the United States is basically using Ukraine as a testing field for modern combat to see what works and what doesn't and what's really useful. And basically, these long-range missiles and these different weapons that Zelensky are asking for are showing to be more effective, anti-air defenses and these ground station missiles to shoot far away from the ground are showing to have more promise than investing into high expensive planes. So that's a pretty interesting, observation to make, because the United States have, for the past couple decades, have just been heavily investing in fighter pilot jets and such. So I think it's interesting to look at the situations like that and how these new weapons are showing a new kind of warfare that's coming up, against the Russians, and how Russians are coming up with new tactics. So it's important to keep up with the news and such. So great job.